Now, your forecast first, sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
Wow, it is cold out there tonight. We had some rain, we had a little bit of snow out there, and now it is the wind that is a major story tonight. Look at these wind gusts. 46 miles an hour in Champaign. It was upwards of 50 miles an hour just a few hours ago. So let's take the temperature. 25. It doesn't feel like that because you have to throw in a 40-mile-an-hour wind, and that turns into 8. It feels like 8 degrees outside, but we're going to be putting negative signs in front of these numbers over the next several days. Out the door in the morning, wind chills will be near 0. We're starting out there in the mid-teens. More about the dangerous cold and more snow for the weekend when we come back. WCIA 3 News starts right now.
Now on WCIA 3 News.
The big game normally draws big crowds to bars and restaurants, why owners are not expecting that this year. Plus, they're running for city council seats where they stand when it comes to police.
And cash bail could soon end in Illinois, and that has some violent crime survivors concerned.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 10.
Instead of going out to the local sports bar with your buddies, stay home.
Super Bowl Sunday is a couple days away, and that has health officials concerned. Good evening, I'm Paul Cicchini.
And I'm Jessica Coons. You may be planning something for this weekend, and it may look different than in years past, but doctors say that's a good thing. They want to remind people not to let down their guard. WCIA 3's Bryce Beeman joins us. Bryce, restaurants that would normally be really busy for the Super Bowl, they're hoping to get just a couple of customers.
Yeah, I actually spoke to 2 sports bars and grills who aren't getting their hopes up for too many customers, but they want to make sure to provide a safe environment for anyone who comes to watch the game.
I'm not expecting a huge turnout this year. We're hopeful.
With the pandemic and restrictions on indoor dining, sports bars and grills like Billy Baroo's Pub and Grill in Champaign are not expecting big turnouts on Sunday.
Being inside is still a little hard for some people. A lot of people aren't ready yet.
Billy Baroo's has outdoor cabins. There aren't TVs in them, so you can't watch the big game from there. But it's one of the ways they're trying to create a safe environment.
We sanitize all of our cabins. We have electrostatic sprayers that we clean our cabins out. We take care of all of our tables inside. We have several people working all the time to make sure things are clean and ready for everyone.
Which goes hand in hand with what health officials say to do if you go to a restaurant.
Use hand sanitizer. Use a mask. Wash your hands.
Dr. Andrew Zazada also says to maintain social distancing as best as possible and to stay at your own table. But he says not going out is the best option.
Stay home and enjoy the game with your family.
Daily Sports Bar in Philo is assuming people will do that, so they're not expecting a big crowd.
As far as this year, nothing real special. Hopefully we get a few people come in and have a drink or two and have a good time.
Before the pandemic, they had a potluck and filled their back garage area. Now they're just hopeful for a few customers. They just want everyone to stay safe and stay open.
We're trying to do our part on keep everything open and have no problems.
And if you are staying at home, a piece of you can be at the game. The NFL is offering cardboard cutouts for your face in the stadium, available for $100. We'll have that link on our website. Back to you.
Yeah, that stadium is going to feel a lot different this year.
Oh, definitely. It's going to feel a lot emptier.
Yeah, a lot quieter. All right, Bryce, thank you. Just a reminder, all of Illinois is in phase 4 of the reopening process, meaning indoor dining and drinking are permitted with parties up to 10 people. Seated areas should be 6 feet apart, tables, or have a barrier between them. Social events are limited to 50 people or 50% room capacity. Taking a look at the state COVID numbers, the positivity rate continues to drop. It's now at 4.4%. More than 3,300 new cases were announced today. Another 69 people have died in Illinois. Vaccines, though, continue to roll out. The state has averaged more than 46,000 shots a day for the last week. Just over 2% of the entire state population has been fully vaccinated.
Sangamon County's health department is expanding vaccine access. Previously, only people 85 and older could get the shot. That was because of limited supply. Now they're in phase 1B. That includes people 65 and older since they have more doses available. The county says more than 29,000 people have gotten their first shot and more than 5,000 are fully vaccinated. Good news for teachers. If you had to buy COVID-19 protective items for your classroom, you can deduct those costs on your taxes. You can deduct up to $250 And then if you and your spouse are both teachers, you can deduct up to $500 if you're filing jointly. Now, protective items include face masks, disinfectant, gloves, physical barriers, and more. For a full list, we've got them, WCIA.com.
The Macon County Sheriff is investigating after a woman was hit by a train in Blue Mound. This happened last night on North Railroad Avenue. The woman died at the scene. Police are still investigating what led up to that accident. A Decatur woman had to be airlifted to a Springfield burn unit after trying to rescue a dog from a house fire. It happened near West Tuttle and South Hayworth Avenue. The fire was put out within an hour. The home did not have a working smoke detector. No word tonight on how the homeowner is doing. That dog is now with animal control. Some new police units in Danville are getting guns off the streets. Since May, these units have seized more than 33 illegal guns. That's on top of what patrol officers were already doing. 6 officers are part of these units. The police chief says they've noticed that more of these guns are coming from young people.
A group of community activists in Champaign and Urbana is running to put progressives on each city council. The group, called the People's Council, met on Facebook Live tonight to talk with community members about their agenda. WCIA 3's Jared Farmer's in the newsroom tonight. Jared, you spoke with some of those candidates. Tell us a little bit more about their platforms.
Paul, each member of the People's Council is a progressive candidate. They're focusing on finding new ways to address chronic homelessness, policing, and domestic violence in Champaign-Urbana.
We are trying to emphasize a more people-centered, a community-centered politics, as opposed to what seems to be a much more insular status quo.
Chronic homelessness, affordable housing, and a statewide push to cancel rent payments are just some of the topics the People's City Council have tackled. They're a group of activists who were involved with Champaign County's anti-racist coalition. Many took part in protests, demonstrations, and community outreach projects over the summer. Thursday night's Q&A focused on defunding the police and its implications.
This community is not immune from, police brutality, structural inequality.
Colin Dodson is running for Urbana's 2nd ward. Some of the candidates argued this would help address issues relating to police brutality in the local community. Others shared ideas about what other social services and resources would need additional funding if the budget was cut. Megan McDonald, who's running for Urbana's 5th ward, says issues like poverty, domestic violence, and mistreatment can't be solved with stricter policing.
They get called for these things, but they don't solve these issues. And so we're really just trying to amend that budget, or at least show that the political will is there.
She says there has to be better long-term solutions than giving officers more work to do. And their next discussion will be taking place on February 18th. In that discussion, the council will discuss ideas on how to tackle domestic violence in Champaign-Urbana. Live in the newsroom, I'm Jared Farmer, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
Jared, some good information. Thanks. Now, here's a look at the full list of seats on the ballot. Each candidate will be on the ballot for city primaries February 23rd. In Urbana, a candidate is competing for each seat, including the mayor's office. Jared Miller is the incumbent for the 7th ward. In Champaign, activists are trying to get elected in the 1st and 3rd districts and the city township supervisor. To see a full list of these candidates, check out our website, WCIA.com.
Illinois is on track to eliminate cash bail, but victims of violent crimes are concerned it may let abusers go free after committing their crimes. Capitol Bureau reporter Cole Henke has more.
Cassandra Tanner Miller is a survivor of domestic assault. Her estranged husband beat her and killed her 1-year-old son, Colton. He did that after posting bail for other crimes he had committed, and she is worried the state eliminating cash bail will allow other abusers to do the same.
Eliminating the cash bail will be detrimental to victims, and more Christopher Millers will be walking out of the courthouse free to the public, putting victims and their family in direct danger.
Director of the Illinois Coalition Against Domestic Violence, Vicki Smith, says she has heard plenty of concerns from survivors as well, and she doesn't diminish any of them. But her organization openly endorsed the Pretrial Fairness Act.
It really is about getting the courts to be better about assessing the individual that's standing in front of them and what their level of danger is and what more they might do to the person they're in relationship with.
Eliminating money bond gives judges the power to decide if someone is a danger to their society or to a person. Smith is turning her attention towards making sure judges know how to handle these cases. But House Republican David Welter openly questioned the intent of the Coalition Against Domestic Violence Thursday.
Without having larger dialogue with those groups, I feel like they did something that wasn't very good for victims.
Smith and her organization worked with the coalition to end money bond for over a year to make sure the bill protected survivors. Reporting in Springfield, I'm Cole Hankey.
The governor has not signed the criminal justice reform bill. If he does sign it, it'll go into effect in 2023.
Not only is one high school team back to play, they've got a new home.
Plus, a small act of kindness can go a long way. How a community and restaurant are together offering people a helping hand.
Kevin, we were just talking about it. It is so cold out. Pretty much everything's frozen.
Everything's frozen. Went out to my car because we had rain, and then the temperatures, fell by 20 degrees, and went to open the door, and I heard. I had to break through that ice. So.
It's slick, too.
And it's slick, too, and we're going to talk about that. But these winds that we've had tonight, I mean, wow. For perspective, they issue severe thunderstorm warnings, usually at 58-mile-an-hour winds. Champaign peaked at 52, and Decatur had a 56-mile-an-hour gust. A lot to talk about with the winds, cold, and snow coming up.